So now that we have this data, there's a great question. What do we do with it? We've collected the pH over the course of our titration in the lab for our citric acid in our fruit juice. Now we need to figure out how we actually can interpret this data and then how to calculate with it. A couple of features I want you to kind of be looking at and to be thinking about when we're looking at kind of our graph here. I'm going to hide here just a second so I can scribble on the page. Cool. Keep in mind, we started with an acidic solution. So at the start of this titration, way down here, we actually started with H plus, we started with H plus ions in excess, right? We started with citric acid in the beaker. That's why when we actually found that initial pH, we had lots of H plus ions. Negative log of that gives us a value less than 7. That's why our initial kind of pH reading is lower on the pH scale. First thing I would do as I was working with this data was, to the best of my ability, I know this is going to kind of vary depending on your artistic skills, but I'm going to connect the dots. Oh, that last one's not so great. Let me try again. Best of my ability, connect my dots. If you want to use an actual ruler for this, feel free. We want to get a nice kind of curve so that we can start to read some data off of our graph. Cool, we're looking for a key piece. After we kind of had our first addition, we think about our data here. We added 8 mils for this sample data. We added 8 mils of our sodium hydroxide, or 0.5 molar sodium hydroxide. So we added a little bit of base. Well, what is that going to do? A little bit of base, it's going to react with our H plus ions, our acid in our beaker, and neutralize. But we didn't add very much of the base. We only added 8 milliliters of that base. And so when we get to our first kind of data point, you'll notice that we're still mostly acidic. Most of our base, or all of the base that we added, got used up, it neutralized with the acid, and we still have acid left over in the fruit juice. As a result, we're still on the acidic side. Now, as we add more and more and more of our sodium hydroxide, we get closer and closer to this point where we've used up all of the H plus, or we've actually neutralized it. And you'll notice as you're looking at your graph, there is this region where we see an incredible increase in the pH on our values. I've kind of bracketed it here just so that you can kind of highlight that piece. We see that as we get closer and closer to that equivalence point, where the moles of acid and base are equal, we get closer and closer to this really steep curve where all of a sudden it's just 1 or 2 drops of our sodium hydroxide gets our acid to be completely neutralized, and then to be in this region up over here where now all of a sudden we're just adding extra hydroxide ions. So we've got now pH greater than 7 because now we have excess base in our flask. Cool, all that to say, these are just general features of our graph. Now we want to know, okay, we need some data. We need to know what this graph tells us. And the point we're looking for is our inflection point, the point of steepest slope on our graph. And so if it was me, as I was looking at this, there's a couple different ways you could do it. You could actually add a straight line here in this region where we've got that inflection point. You could also look to see where you've got the middle of your pH value. Personally, for me, I don't know, I don't think I could put in a straight line. I'm going to go ahead and just add the best straight line I can do here. Middle of that appears to be approximately right in here. Now note, oh, that was bad. Now notice, as we're looking here, we now know 2 very important data pieces. Let me erase kind of my tangent line I put in here just to make it easier to view that slope. Here's kind of the midpoint of that inflection. Here's where I've got the steepest slope. I now know here is the volume, the pH at the equivalence point. This point right here is where our moles of our H plus equal our moles of hydroxide. We've got equal amounts of those particles and we've neutralized all of the acid that was originally in the flask. Now keep in mind, our pH here is greater than 7, and this makes sense. We had a weak acid being titrated by a strong base. As a result, we end up on the higher basic side of our pH scale. Cool, now that we found the equivalence point, we can then go ahead and drop this back down to get a volume. And now we've got the point we need, because we know 2 very important things now. We know that at the point where all of the acid was neutralized and we had kind of equal parts acid and base, it took for this one, as we're looking at our graph, and that point on our graph down here looks like we are at approximately, that's 15, that's 16, so 15.2 based on the graph. I got 15.2 milliliters based on the graph. At this point, we've neutralized all the acids, so we can actually figure out, we know how many moles of base there are at this point. We could then use our stoichiometry to figure out how many moles of acid must have been in the original solution. Well, good news, we now know the volume, and we know that molarity equals our moles over liters. Well, from the lab, we know the molarity was 0.500 molar. We know our volume for this example was 0.0152 liters. Watch your sig figs as you're reading off of the graph. And given that information, we can actually solve for X, or in this case, the moles of sodium hydroxide that were added to the beaker at that particular point in time when we're at that equivalence point. Cool. Now, keep in mind, we are doing a little bit of graphical analysis here. It is going to depend. You're going to have a slight variance based upon how you're pulling your equivalence point. But if we've got good data, if we've got a good inflection point, and we've got good significant figures within our measurements, this value should come out very, very close for all of our different trials, regardless of the trial that we're running. Cool. Feel free to email if you've got questions. Hopefully this helped as you start to analyze your data today.